We begin this video with an aside that there is a storm coming, and so you may hear some thunder outside. We apologize for that, but we have for you Dagger of the Mind. This is our retro review of Season 1, Episode 10 of Star Trek The Original Series after this. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd, and in Dagger of the Mind, this is the one where the Enterprise goes to resupply a Federation penal colony, the Tantalus colony, and it is headed by a very legendary scientist by the name of Dr. Tristan Adams. He basically wrote the book on 23rd century care for people who have broken the law, and has a reputation as having reformed the prison system to the point to where it's more of a rehabilitation center than it is just a cage. McCoy, of course, is a little skeptical of all of this, and when they beam up some records to take back to Starfleet headquarters, they find there's a stowaway. And this stowaway, by the name of Simon Van Gelder, is who puts the plot in motion. Now, this episode is a pretty well-written piece of science fiction. It is one that deals with what happens if you are able to get into someone's mind and erase the portions of it that cause criminal activity, and then what's left. Presumably whatever you put into someone's mind afterwards, but that gives kind of a commentary, a subtle commentary, if you will, on just what kind of mind control is really something that is ethical and even if it were doable. And so we see this where the not so great Tristan Adams has found a use for this neural neutralizer that goes beyond just helping his patients. In fact, turns it on his assistant, who at first seems to be as out of control as he is reputed to be. And in fact, when the Enterprise investigates, Kirk and Dr. Helen Noel, the assistant of the week, comes to take a look at this colony, and they find a number of things that look very impressive. Dr. Adams could not be more friendly or more inviting or more straightforward to some fairly blunt questions. And yet, that is the way that good criminals are written. You always give the social graces to the bad guys and usually the more rude elements to the good guys. It's kind of an interesting trope. An interesting thing that we find in this episode is that we have the first indication that there is more than one person in sickbay. Sometimes it seems like besides Dr. McCoy and Nurse Chapel, there's nobody there. But here and there, McCoy pulls somebody out of his department, as he did with Dr. Helen Noel. Odd that even with 400 people on the ship, that the captain had no idea that she was there. Usually a ship's captain gets to know everybody on their ship, if not on a personal basis. Certainly they've got their names and they know about their records, generally speaking. So that's a little bit of thing that made me pause. This is the first time that Spock had ever done a Vulcan mind meld, and they prefaced it with a lot of concern on Spock's part that he had never mind melded with a human. This now has been violated because he is mind melded with Pike in the Strange New World series, but at this point he had not done so in that series, and it was a very personal thing and a very dangerous possible thing, and it turns out, however, that it became so good a device that Spock was mind melding with virtually everybody and everything, including a Horta later on in the series. At any rate, we find out that Kirk becomes a bit suspicious, and he is then put at the mercy of the neural neutralizer. Now, what's interesting about this is they never show him being taken off the neural neutralizer. That is to say, he's been given this unrequited love for Dr. Noel, and except for the fact that it seems to be able to continue to function as the captain and even as they leave, I can't help but think that this may explain some of his womanizing tendencies later on in the series. That before this, he was a very buttoned-down captain, very strict on discipline, and now, beginning with this episode, it seems like every time he encounters a female, it's some kind of lovemaking adventure there. So I will then, in my headcanon, place the neural neutralizer as being the fault of all of that. So that is the Dagger of the Mind, Season 1, Episode 10 of the original series. A good science fiction-y type of story. There's no real enemy here, just some people who are perhaps misguided, but not the wartime footing or the avoidance of wartime footing that they often put in some of these episodes. So a good solid episode and reasonably well done. It is noticeable that Dr. Noel's uniform does not fit well. If you go through it, you'll find that it's cut a little bit high and a little bit low, and shows off some things that you probably shouldn't see. At any rate, that's the show. We'd like to know what you think about it. Please make a comment and leave that below. And if you've not yet subscribed or rung the bell, please do so you know when the next episode comes your way. And we'll be back next time, come rain or shine. And until then, don't go far.